Hey there, my name is LexC, and thank you so much for joining me for the hot take. Today, the hot take is coming from Twitter. This is from a post by @JordanRamble. He asks, artists, how do you feel about this? And the picture says, streaming done ruined the music industry. How we went from $25 an album to 2 cents. Everybody cool with it. Lately, I've just been finding topics on Twitter that just really resonate with my soul. And I agree profusely with this take. Now, I also have people tuned in live, and I'm going to do a separate Lex chat on this. This is a suggestion from David's World 1898. Thank you so much. It says he wants the topic to be, are we going back to physical media? And as soon as he said that, I came across this bookmark in my Twitter. Streaming done ruined the music industry. How we went from $25 an album to 2 cents. Everybody is cool with it. And I agree with this. I think streaming ruined a lot of industries. Well, I know for sure the entertainment industry is fudged because streaming has just ruined it all. And I've been watching a few videos on YouTube about this topic, and I want to also dive into this as well. I feel inadequate sometimes, like I haven't done enough research, you know? But I've been watching some videos, and I want to say it was Matt Damon. One of the videos I watched was Matt Damon on The Hot Ones. And he talked about how streaming has messed up the income for the movie industry. And I want to say that he was explaining why the strike was such a huge deal. And was it The Hot Ones? I'm not exactly sure, but pretty sure it was definitely Matt Damon. Hold on. Mr. Bourne Ultimatum himself. Yes. Mr. Jason Bourne Ultimatum himself. All right. Yes. And he was explaining why the strikes were such a big deal. So to give you the Cliff Notes version, right? Basically, the income of an actor, right? And this relates heavily to music as well. And I talked about this in a previous episode of Lex Chat. The income of an actor has been severely affected by streaming, and the film industry has been severely affected by filming because of streaming. So it used to be that the studio would be approved for a certain budget to develop a film, and that film would have a projection of how much it was going to make from the box office. So you were getting income from movie theater sales. And then after a certain amount of time, the movie would go on to VHS or DVD or Blu-ray. But unfortunately, and then there were opportunities for it to play or be licensed on certain networks on television as well. So I want to say that would be the 3 streams that it used to have, right? But the industry changed to where, and I don't know if COVID is the main culprit for this or not, but I want to say people like Netflix helped to change how we interact with media, and that affected the industry because it put out of business places like Blockbuster and video rental stores, right? So it moved so how long did movies used to stay in film? I remember movies used to stay in the theater for like at least 2-3 months, right? And it would be maybe another month or so before you would see that movie on VHS or DVD. So it had enough time to make most of its money in the box office in the theater. And then it had time to make money off of the sale of home videos. And then, whatever you get from the network. But when streaming came along, suddenly movies were only staying in the theater for 2 weeks to a month. And in the case of Disney, I want to say that with the whole Mulan release, right? It released in theaters, but then Disney tried to make it to where you pay $20 for to be able to see the film like early or something. They tried to make it exclusive, but that was dumb because people who already paid for Disney Plus, as soon as that little feature was gone, they would be able to watch it for like the $10 a month that it came out, right? So the problem became that the films were not allowed enough life in the box office before, like no one wants to pay $20 for a movie ticket when they can just pay their $10 a month to see an unlimited source of films, right? So movies were not staying in theaters long enough before they were taken to streaming, and streaming basically obliterated the home video market altogether. So that's why the actors were not making the money and the film industry was not making the money. It's like, how are you going to recoup those millions of dollars that you spent on these films? And it's not going to make the money in the box office. And you only have so much revenue from the streaming. So that's what's causing a lot of these companies to bankrupt. And then you're not getting greenlit for a lot of movies because who wants to take the chance to bomb at the box office and only get paid so much for the movie to be put onto a streaming site versus a network, and there's no home video, and it's just a big mess basically, right? So that's the Cliff Notes as succinct as I can give it to you, as truncated as I can give it to you. David's World said 1 to 2 months, then 5 months until the DVD and Blu-ray, right? So movies used to have a long time to live in theaters before they also got their recoupment through home video. So how does this translate to the music industry as well? Well, streaming, and I was watching a video where Spotify isn't even making money like that, but they are pretty much the ones who pioneered the whole streaming of music. So the way that Netflix pioneered for the movie industry to change how we interacted with the movies, Spotify pioneered the way and changed the way that we interacted with the music. So it's the same thing, right? Like, why pay $12 to $25 per album when I can just pay $10 a month and I have access to millions of songs, millions and millions of songs? I actually found out that Spotify is losing money because the only thing they have to rely on is the music, but the labels are getting a majority of that revenue. And I want to say a lot of the cost of Spotify goes to paying the people who work for Spotify. But streaming services like Apple and Amazon and, Google, they're doing much better because they have other products that they can fall back on to turn a profit from. So like Apple already has like Macs and Apple phones, and they can do things like include 1 year of Apple Music streaming with your brand new purchase of your Apple phone, right? Or Amazon, obviously they're like this online shopping conglomerate, and they have Amazon Music, which is also linked to Amazon and Amazon Prime. And, I think they got stuff with Whole Foods and a bunch of other deals, but they have other things that they can fall onto. Whereas Spotify is strictly with music. They've started to make a shift to where they're moving to like podcasting, right? But I don't think the shift is happening quick enough for them to like make as much money as they thought or as much as they projected or something like that. But anyway, streaming then ruined the music industry. How do we go from $25 albums to 2 cents? And I talked about this before. It all comes down to greed. It comes down to greed. The people who benefit the most from streaming are the labels, because the streaming services pay the labels out the most. And because artists have already signed away a majority of their publishing rights to a label, or they signed most of their percentage over to the label, they're not getting nearly as much as the label is, right? So what was the problem? We went from an ownership based model to a rental based model. And so it honestly does cap the earning potential when you go from selling each individual product to now lumping everything into one hat and asking people to rent the hat, if that makes sense. So yeah, like, why would somebody want to pay $25 for one artist when they could pay $10 for millions? And people stop appreciating and everything's become so saturated, but people stop appreciating the artistry and they don't want to pay that much. I mean, it's economical. It makes sense. So I get it. I don't pay for streaming because I don't mind watching commercials. And I don't have to deal with commercials on Spotify when I'm listening to podcasts. So amen. But when I'm on YouTube, I don't mind watching ads. I'm not paying for this stuff. But seriously, that's why I push so hard. Like I'm pushing for people to get the physical copy of my album, Love Reset, because the amount of money that I can make from one sale of one album is a lot more money that I can generate in a year's worth of streams. So what is it? 1,500 streams is one sale. Do I not have a calculator on my computer? Hold on. All right. I don't have a calculator on my computer. How crazy is that? Let's look for a calculator. Okay. So let me see. 1,500. Okay. 1,500 times the point, like the 10% of a penny. That's $1.50 for 1,500 streams. Do you know that on my album, I only have like 800 streams on Apple Music. I have less than 1,000 streams on everything, pretty much everything, except for like Motorboat and like a song I did with Big Hooks. But I have less than 1,000 streams on most of my music. So how am I supposed to make my money? You know? And if I was a regular artist who like wasn't an engineer, artists got to pay for studio time. That's like $50 to $100 an hour. And you might spend at least 2 to 4 hours in the studio. And then you got to get it mixed and mastered. That's another $300 to $500. And then you got to get cover art. That's another $40 to $100. And then you might want to do a music video. That's like $1,000 a lot of times. And then you still got to find in your budget, like, how am I going to market and promote this? You need at least 100 for that. Really, ideally, like 1,500 would be what people would tell you. But it's so expensive. Like, how is anybody supposed to make a return from this? Music, streaming really just messed everything up. Nobody's making money from streaming except maybe the big labels and the big corporations. But I don't know. I feel like streaming is a bubble that's about to burst because a lot of people are getting very fed up with the pay structure. And a lot of people are realizing like, yo, this art form, I can't live off of it anymore because the structure, the model, for the payout has been changed so much to only benefit like the top 3%, the top 5%. And so already the film strike happened, you know. Music needs to go on strike next, in my opinion. But at the risk of rambling too much, I'm going to go ahead and end this hot take. That's my hot take on this. Streaming ruined the music industry. It ruined the entertainment industry. But my name is LexC. Thank you so much for joining me for the hot take. Until next time, peace.